Developing a global mindset. Graduates with a solid education and a global mindset are a hot commodity in the international community. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Let me tell you a story. There was a disappointed American Coca-Cola sales manager. He was talking with a friend back in the United States. He'd previously been posted to a key position in the Middle East. His friend asked him about his job success over there. He said it didn't go that well. So his friend asked, well, why didn't it go so well? The salesman explained, when I got posted in the Middle East, I was very confident that I would make a good sales pitch, since cola was virtually unknown there. But I had a problem. I didn't know how to speak Arabic, or how to say things in an understandable manner. So I planned to convey the message through a series of posters and billboard advertising. In the first poster, there was a man lying in the hot desert sand. Totally exhausted and fainting. In the second poster, there was a man drinking our cola. In the third poster, the man's now refreshed and running along. Then we put those postboards and billboards up where? Everywhere. His friend said, well, that should have worked. The sales manager said, yeah. The problem was that I didn't realize that Arabs read from right to left. Well, there we are. The question is, through whose lens are we looking? How are we understanding the world from our perspective or from the other's perspective? Global mindset is a way of describing how some persons have acquired abilities that help them function with cultural fluency. This cultural fluency is a way of moving back and forth between cultural understandings depending on who we're interacting with. So what went wrong in our story? The sales manager was certainly motivated. He wanted to do a good job. He wanted to find a way to communicate. But was motivation enough? Well, no. At a certain point, our friend began to pay attention when his whole ad campaign didn't produce the right meaning. He realized a simple thing about how language and culture actually affects our built-in behaviors, how an Arab eye looks from right to left rather than left to right. But for him, it was already too late. He was sent back to the US. He didn't acquire the right knowledge soon enough. What if he had understand how culture shapes behaviors, whether about drinking cola or about how one reads on the page? These are the elements that shape the development of a global mindset. So, why am I talking about global mindset here today? Back to what I said at the beginning. Graduates with a solid education and a global mindset are a hot commodity in the international community. What if our students don't just get a good academic education at a top-rated U.S. college? What if they go beyond a good education and develop a global mindset that enables them to take up employment any place on the globe that they want to live and work? Academic achievement in your secondary education may be the foothold into a good overseas post-secondary institution. However, developing a global mindset will require our students not only to survive as a student in the U.S., but we must also learn to thrive in this different social and cultural world. In education, we talk about intended outcomes. That is, what do we intend that the student will achieve by the time they finish our program of studies? If you're here at this session, I imagine you're thinking about studying and graduating with a solid education from a university or college in America or perhaps Europe. Is developing a global mindset, that is, acquiring cultural fluency, also one of your intended outcomes? Let's think about this process. If you're a good student and you work with our counselors, you may quite likely get accepted into studies at an overseas university. But acceptance is not graduation. You still have thousands of miles to travel and 3 to 4 years of study and work before you achieve the academic requirements and graduate. That's your intended outcome. It's what happens between acceptance and achievement that I'm concerned about here. I'm concerned about how you as an international student will live and thrive in a social and a cultural context that's very different from the one in which you were raised.